Hi, I'm Anatole, and this is my review of Batman the Animated Series, Season 1, Episode number 13, titled, I've Got Batman in My Basement. And before I begin with my review, I'll give you the score on imdb.com and the number of votes for that score. So it's received 6.8 on imdb.com with a total of 1,327 votes. This episode has the reputation of being the worst among the series, so that score reflects it, and it shouldn't be a surprise for you to learn that I feel it's a very, very poor episode. I think perhaps of this season, it's tied in my view between this and the Joker Christmas episode. The title of that I can't recall off the top of my head. Christmas with the Joker, which I also thought was a very weak episode. The plot before I do my review, let me give you the plot synopsis, courtesy of Wikipedia. During a fight with Batman over a stolen Fabergé egg, the Penguin incapacitates Batman with poison gas. The Dark Knight is rescued by a teenage amateur detective named Sherman Grant and his friend Roberta, who hide Batman in Sherman's basement long enough for him to recover before the Penguin finds them. And it's quite apparent that the episode is struggling a little bit with the identity of the Penguin. I think they're not quite sure what they want to do with the character. So in some ways he's presented as an erudite criminal. Not only is what he's seeking a little high class, the Fabergé eggs were eggs created for the Romanov Russian imperial family, but also he quotes poetry. At one point I was able to catch the poet that he quotes, and that is, he says, "Stone walls do not a prison make," and that's a quote from Richard Lovelace. He's also been presented in the past as a master criminal, a mastermind thief whose only interest is in ruling the underworld of Gotham City and getting as much lucre as he can without falling afoul of Batman. He doesn't seem to have any sort of jealousy streak that I recall. I think he's mainly in it just for the bucks. That's the more modern interpretation of the Penguin, if I remember right. I think the TV show interpretation is a little different, and then the Batman, the Tim Burton film is also a different interpretation. So he seems to have had many different interpretations. The modern one is more of the criminal mastermind of the underworld. That's not what we get here. We do get that he's a thief who seems to have aspirations at being more than his stature has. So he walks around with a monocle. He's like an aristocratic baron, that he is a two-bit hood. He walks around with the monocle. He quotes poetry. He gets irate with the criminals when they are buffoonish or don't seem to be on top of the plot, because he has those airs of being someone who's in charge and is owed respect. My scattered thoughts on my various thoughts on the episode. The opening, the episode is presented like a caper, and it reminded me of the stealing of the Pink Panther jewel from the original Pink Panther films, the ones with David Niven is the criminal. So less of a Batman episode. And it's also of note that Batman appears less in this episode than in other episodes. And when he does appear, he gets knocked unconscious, so he has almost no agency, and he's very passive in the episode. Instead, we're given the kid Encyclopedia Brown wannabe Sherlock Holmes is our hero, and the villains of the piece are as much the bullies of the block as they are Penguin. And we are presented this kid. We get to follow him as he gets the respect of the other children in the block. So it's very much a children-centered episode. We're given the triumph of the episode is not the triumph of Batman capturing the Penguin, but of the kid raising into the awareness and esteem of Batman, and so getting the respect of the children in the neighborhood. That's pretty much the arc of the plot. Sherman is an analog to Sherlock. The bullies even call him that. They call him Sherlock at one point. Fabergé eggs. So for those who may not be aware, Fabergé eggs were a thing in the early 1990s when there was a very well-to-do retrospective of them in San Diego around 1989, 1990. And because I'm from San Diego, I did go to see that show. They're very ornate and remarkable. They are these jeweled eggs, and you open them up and they have complex designs on the inside, and each of them is bespoke. Each is different from the last. Paul Williams does the voice of the Penguin, perhaps the best thing about this episode. He makes a very good Penguin. I like Paul Williams a lot. It's a country and Hollywood. It's a country songwriter and a Hollywood theme songwriter. He did the songs for the Muppets, among others. He appeared in Smokey and the Bandit. So I think he started in Nashville and then at one point was living in Hollywood. I'm not sure if he has like dual houses or if he alternates between Nashville and Hollywood, but even today he's still doing series. He was in season 3 of Goliath and in season 4, I think, also. Maybe one of the best things about season 3 of Goliath. And the Home Alone finish. So another sign that this is a very weak episode is that it cribs its ideas from other media and doesn't do anything new with it. The end of the episode is the kid capturing Penguin in the same way that the kid in Home Alone captures the criminals. And there's no twist about that. I think that it would have bothered me less if it had just been some sort of clever new take on it. If instead of the Penguin knocking the Batman out, it was the kid who threw his trap, instead of trapping the Penguin, trapped Batman, and then had to get his way out of the clutches of the Penguin because he's the one who's captured the Batman. At least that would be a spin. The mouse trap, instead of catching the mouse, catches the maker of the mouse trap. That would have given some tension to the kid having to reverse. He's trapped Batman and now he has to free Batman so that he can get free of the clutches of the Penguin. That would have been a lot more original than what we're given. And I think really that's all I got. At about 8 minutes in, there's not much more to say about this episode other than it's contrived, weak, and very thin. So unfortunately, I've heard that the first half of this, and I'm watching this season in production order, not release order. Production order, the first half, there are many more misses than there are hits. And then the second half, I think when they finally got the writers together that they wanted and they had a stronger idea of what to do with the series, I hear that the second half, there are more hits and very few misses. So here we are, episode 13, yet another clunker. And I do know the next episode by reputation. That is Heart of Ice, a very famous episode for Batman fans. And I have not seen it. I've been excited to watch this episode. So we'll be able to wash the taste of this bad episode out of my mouth with what many people consider to be one of the best in the series. I have not seen it yet, and I'm quite excited to watch that. There is a good chance I will do that as a reaction video. I only want to do the reaction videos for the episodes I think are going to be significant. Otherwise, this is a review-focused series. For those of you who are following my channel, you know I do both reviews and reactions. And for Batman, I'm focusing on reviews with the caveat that I will do reactions when I think the episode warrants it. And so I think like 90% certain I will do this next episode as a reaction video. Anyway, for those of you who have your own thoughts on this episode, please drop me a message. Let me know what your take is on this episode. I know that there are some people who enjoy the episode, even though it has one of the weakest reviews on imdb.com. So are you pro or con on this episode, and why? That's it. So until next time, take care and be well. Goodbye.